my name's Paul Webster. I've been, by popular demand and a lot of bullying and mithering, I've decided that I would eventually get around to do a video to try and explain a little bit about bills of exchange in conjunction with the Consumer Credit Act when it comes to utility bills. Now, a brief little bit of history is that in the 1800s, this country became bankrupt. It had no economy, there was no wealth, there was nothing in it. So they had to put the debts onto something that would gain credit and would be able to do such. So they put the debts onto the backs of the labour of the people, which made those people creditors. Now, when they did that, they also gave national resources to the public, which are yours by right, namely gas, water and electric in particular. And it's quite easy to see how this happens to a domestic property, because to a domestic property, if you ask for a paper bill, you will be given a bill that has a giro credit slip. Now that is a joint giro credit from the commercial bank. That is payable to you because the man must always be compensated under the bills of exchange. So as a domestic agreement, you aren't liable to pay for your gas, water or electric as per this. But they did a very clever thing and changed payment slip check to payment slip. That's really thrown everybody. Now, what happened with me was basically British Gas messed up 3 payment plans that I was paying. In the end, because I was involved in a rather large court case involving property, I decided I'd had enough. I said, send me a paper bill please. So they sent me a paper bill. Now what I did with that paper bill, because under the bills of exchange, you are when you get your cheque to compensate you because the company has already been paid by the commercial bank. That is why they must pay you to compensate you. So when that happened and I was reading about it, it meant one of 3 things for the obligation of the bill of exchange. Number 1, I cash the cheque at the post office. The post office do not recognise, they recognise it as a cheque, but they cannot cash it. They're not allowed to. The bank do not recognise it as a cheque, they think it's a paying in slip, and they're not legally trained, neither are the post office. This is all on purpose. So the only other thing that I could do with it is when somebody hands me a cheque for money and they start shouting that I owe them money after they give me that cheque, I gave them the cheque back and I transferred that cheque by my endorsement. And I did it in the following ways. Number 1, you write this is what I did. So I can only go off my result and what I did. Other people might have better ways, they might have even got the mechanism perfect. This is what I did. I had the giro slip attached here. I didn't touch the cheque at all. I wrote not transferable across it. I put 3 postage stamps on it and signed and dated each one. The reason that is done is to pay the stamp duty on that particular document, so that document is now mine. It's not theirs, they can't use it, it's mine. So what I did was, after that, I then added my transferred by endorsement sticker here, and my transferred endorsement sticker basically states to British Gas for payment at the site the sum of £454 transferred by Paul Webster, address, postcode, and then my national insurance number with non-commercial customer next to it. I signed and dated that and transferred it by my endorsement, right underneath, this bill of exchange is hereby transferred by my endorsement. So basically now they've got a cheque that they can cash, because they can't cash that cheque because it's in my name. It is to me at the end of the day. But they've already been paid. Now they're in a bit of a dilemma as far as I can see, that if they cash it, they will be cashing it and being paid for a second time, which would be classed as double dipping. The fact is, these people will not engage with me any further. The first warrant of entry, I got a bit ahead of the game. I wasn't chasing the game at this point. I'd already headed off a warrant attempt and had the warrant cancelled over the phone. This time I decided to go to Magistrates Court and challenge the warrant with my bundle. So I put the bundle in and I stated, that's how I paid for this bill. The gas agent stood up and stated that it was for the sum of £454, blah 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 blah. And then I stated, well, there's the bill, there's the bundle, that's how I paid it by the Bills of Exchange Act 1882 in conjunction with the Consumer Credit Act 1974, section 123. Obviously the gas agent isn't legally trained, so this wasn't going to go anywhere at this point. So the legal clerk said that he was going to have to adjourn it before a district judge, at which point the magistrate, one of the magistrates, inquired what a bill of exchange was. And the legal clerk turned to the magistrate and stated, a bill of exchange, ma'am, is a legal remedy. Remedy is cure. They don't use these words unless they intend to use them. Legal remedy that we don't deal with in this jurisdiction. At this point, the gas agent who was in the dock stated that this wasn't a health and safety issue, this was a monetary dispute. To which I replied, so you're applying for a criminal warrant of entry for a civil matter. The two jurisdictions don't mix. You're applying for a warrant of entry under health and safety under the 1954 Gas Act. You are presuming, or trying to make the magistrates presume, I could be the nutter that is intending on blowing up the street because you haven't checked the supply. And he stood in the dock and stated, no, the supply is safe, we checked it when we read the meter, this is a monetary dispute. And I said, there you go, we are in the wrong jurisdiction. So the legal clerk looked through my documents and said, we're not going to be able to go through this in 10 minutes, Mr. Webb, so I'm going to adjourn it before a district judge. To which he did 2 weeks later. I turned up this time to be met by a boiler man. He had his British Gas boiler suit on. It's obvious it must have been a job and knock type thing. And he handed me a letter talking about debt avoidance techniques that have been gleaned from the internet and promissory notes. I've never promised to pay. I've paid it. That's my only obligation, is to be, I'm not liable to pay for it. I can't cash it, have the cheque back. If that's what you're claiming, you haven't been paid, have the cheque back. Or come to court. So the district judge said, you're not legally trained, so we're not going to be able to deal with this today. I'm going to adjourn it for another 56 days, 28 days for British Gas to respond. Please hand the bundle that I'm going to give you to your legal team. The judge said then 28 days for Mr. Webster to answer. So 56 days later, I turned up at court, nobody else did, and no documents were put in. So the warrant was thrown out. That was the second warrant. Then January this year, I went to court again because they were applying for a warrant. I met a new gas agent. This gas agent came up, I approached her and said, are you legally trained? And she said, no. And I said, well, I'm going to put you in the dock and I'm going to cross-examine you about this. And she went, no, you're not. And she withdrew the warrant and put a big X through it. The next time I went to court, it wasn't actually for me. I was giving support to somebody who was doing the same thing with the bills of exchange. And the gas agent saw me and she said, Mr. Webster, the magistrates will not hear any more applications on your property. I've got nothing for you. I went, I'm not here for me today. I'm here on behalf of my friend and we're going to do the same thing. And she went, no, you're not. And she took the warrant out and she crossed it. So they're the stages that I got to. Since then, British Gas have decided to completely ignore me despite phone calls to headquarters and despite numerous letters. I since, on August the 4th, billed British Gas £6,200 for 3 attendances in court, stress and anxiety, plus an administration fee. They had 21 days to pay me, which was by the 25th of August. Had they not done so, they would incur £100 a day interest, which they're approximately owing me about 16 grand right now. who knows when or where I will get this payment, because at this moment in time all I can see is that these people are running away from me. They've had ample opportunity to come to court and blow me out of the water and state that I'm completely and utterly wrong and I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. However, having seen a result that was handed to me, that a certain energy company has accepted the transfer by endorsement, this is from a source that I got the bundle from, but obviously British Gas is one of the bigger boys, and they certainly don't want to see this revenue go. So at the end of the day, I can tell you briefly what I put in to it. It's you've got a basic skeleton of an argument, which is the respondent's contention that the complaint, insofar as discerned by the enclosed document, basically what it states in this skeleton is, it's a lot to go into on a quick video. It might be too complicated at the moment. You need to get your head around the fact that you've got to understand the concept that you're not liable for this. There is reasons why you are not liable, and sticking to that somebody's not paying the gas bill so your gas bill goes up is ludicrous, because my question to you is, if I took you to a pub and said it was a free bar, would you insist on paying for your drinks? There's nobody answered yes to that question as yet. So you put your bundle together, you write to them, you ask them to come and view the meter and the supply to check the safety of it. You also do a removal of implied rights of access, unless it's by appointment. As I said, you do the not transferable and send the cheque back, and you put your not transfer, you put your transfer by endorsement sticker on that. Always keep all your receipts. You don't need to send them special recorded. You can send them first class at the post office and get a receipt for that. You don't need to put a stamp on it and hope it gets there. You can put it in at the post office and get a receipt. First class is first class. In the bundle is a copy of the Bills of Exchange Act 1882. Next to that, I have the Stamp Act of 1981. As I explained, the stamp duty paid on the document makes sure that that document is now owned by you and they can't take control of it. I also put a stamp on the back of the document just in case these people try and play around with the document at all. So that's the Stamp Duty Act. I then have a copy of the Consumer Credit Act, section 123, which states under section 5, this section does not apply where the regulated agreement is non-commercial. Now that tells you that non-commercial is not subject to it. You are not liable. Along with that, we have the rights of entry under the Gas and Electricity Boards Act of 1954. This is what they apply for a criminal warrant of entry for. So they actually take you to a magistrate's court for a criminal warrant of entry based under health and safety. But when you get the gas agent standing in the dock saying, no, this is a monetary dispute, this is to put a pay-as-you-go meter in, then you don't need anything better than that. He's telling the magistrates that it's a monetary dispute. They want to put a payment meter in to hold you ransom for something that you are not liable to pay. They're committing fraud if they issue a warrant for such a thing. They only rubber stamp the warrants based on health and safety. That's what they would stick to, and that's what they go for, because they cannot get a criminal warrant of entry for a monetary dispute. We also have the Gas Act 1986, which is basically the same type of thing. It's a health and safety issue that they're applying under. I just threw them in the bundle so that you can actually direct them to where you're quoting this stuff from. That there is no monetary disputes involved in any of these acts. And then just to top it off, you throw in the Fraud Act of 2006, which, you know, it really tells them then what your intentions are. I also have a contempt of court by Archbold, which is through Lord Diplock. You can find this on the internet, and this basically tells you things along the lines of the unhindered access and stuff to courts that you are allowed. Nobody can make a claim against you without proving it. I can't claim that somebody owes me £1,000, go to court, get a warrant of entry without them being there and me not proving my claim. But that's what these corporations are doing. A lot of it with the help of the court. Be it intentionally or not, be it ignorant or not, these people are helping corporations through Her Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Service every day. It stretches, this stuff stretches into council tax, mortgages, things like that. I can go on and on because those are massive subject matters on their own. Basically, when we boil it all down, we're being ripped off, we're being stolen from, we're being robbed blind, and it's through, most of it is through consent, which is ignorance. I was ignorant 5-10 years ago. I didn't know any of this stuff. Through circumstances, you get to learn this stuff, and you can't unlearn it. It's not about cutting corners. It's not about finding loopholes. It's what was given to you via your great-great-great-grandparents. These people have earned this for you, and you aren't taking your rights up. There'll be other videos to follow, but for now, this is Paul Webster. Good luck with anybody who attempts to try and use this. This is not legal advice. I'm not legally trained and do not offer legal advice. This is information that I have used. Those are the results that I've got to. Can I say that the Bills of Exchange and the Consumer Credit Act I've used paid my bill or wrote my bill off, which is what it should be, against the domestic readings? No, I can't, because I can't get confirmation of that. The judge would not find in my favour that the bill had been paid because there was nobody there to contest it. So at this moment in time, because there's nobody there to contest it, that is why there is no win. As soon as you get somebody legally trained from these corporations into a court, they're done. Thank you.